Hello everybody, it's Rachel here. Today we're going to be making this narrow quadruple pocket signature page to go inside your junk journal. So it's to be used as part of a signature. So I'll show you how it's done. You'll need an A4 piece of paper and you're going to fold one of the long edges up by about an inch. Flip it over and then fold the two long edges together so that they match up. Now you're going to create the fold that's going to be stitched into the signature, and that needs folding from side to side. You can use a bone folder to make the crease more pronounced and squash it down so that it folds easily. Next, I'm using a circle punch to create some thumb holes in those pockets, and then we're going to be sticking them down shortly. After that, you can flip it open and add some thumb holes to the side loading pockets as well. I've used a different size punch here, but that's just to show off that I've got more than one circle punch, and you can just use the same size if you wish. Next, I'm going to ink all of the edges. To make this fold nicely, I'm going to need to remove some of the bulk from the pocket. So the way I do this is just take a little snip from the extra fold that you've got on the front pocket, and it's just the tiniest sliver, and that'll just help it to fold up. And then you can glue your pockets down, and that gives you two separate pockets as well, so that it doesn't open out into one long one and get things trapped in the fold. Then I'm going to glue down the long open edge so that it can be stuck together and create those back pockets. And try and match up the edges better than I did here. Once you've done that, you'll end up with the bones of the pocket page, and then you can just decorate it however you wish. I'm measuring up here to find out what size tags I need to make, and then I use my Cricut machine to make the tags so they fit in perfectly. You can get the tag file that I use for my Cricut on my website if you want to have the ability to cut those yourself. And then I'm just shredding a piece of fabric so that I can use that as the tag pull on this one. I'm going to be using shades of blue for this to go with the rest of my journal, and browns as well, as you can see. So I'm just basically making a kind of cluster to go on the front. So I have a play around first to decide how I want it to look, and then I begin sticking things down afterwards. I knew that I wanted a torn edge look, and then I found this pretty bird as well to go with it, and I love that image. This was one from the Graphics Fairy. After playing around with that pattern paper for a little while, I realised that I didn't want it to be patterned. I just wanted the colour, but I wanted it to be plain, so I turned it over and there was no pattern on that side. So I've got a piece of lace there from my collection, and I realised later on that I wanted it to show through, but I didn't want it to be so obvious, so I turned it over and put it on the back. Pieces like this need plenty of glue because they're going to be getting lots of use with the tags put in and out, so I would recommend using wet glue for it. And then I'm inking the edges of each individual piece as well, just to give it a bit of more dimension. So stick that down into position. And then I also add a bit of ink to the bird. I'm not worried about getting into all the intricate spaces, it's just to try and get some of that white brightness off where I've cut. Plenty of glue needs to be added to all of those little bits that stick out. Otherwise you'll find that it lifts up all the time. That's why I go in and just top up some of the bits of that I've missed. So I'm still playing with that lace there, thinking of where I want to put it, and I decided that it was too much when it was sticking out, so I'm going to put it on from behind, and then there'll just be a subtle hint of the lace underneath, and then add something, a bit of interest to the inside as well. And I was much happier with that. Needed some text or something, so I have a little rummage now. I did have a look through some of the Tim Holtz words, but I couldn't find any. So I knew that I had this in my pile somewhere, and it was just one word saying perfect, and that was just something that I made myself. I just wrote a few inspiring words and printed them onto like a coffee dyed paper background. And I think that just finishes it off quite nicely. So next I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. And because they're not going to be showing on the same page, I'm not worried about them particularly coordinating with each other. So I decided to use this lady. Again, that was from the Graphics Fairy. And I just made a cluster to go around her. That little paper there is one that I got from, I think it was just from Poundland. Pound World maybe. And I like those little 6x6 pads because the paper's sturdy but quite thin, so that when you're doing layering like this, they're really handy. Again, just inking those edges for the depth, and then arranging them behind the lady that's going to be the focal point. I didn't want to have too much overlap with this being a flap, as I thought it might make it a bit more delicate when people are putting tags and things inside. So I tried to make sure everything fit within the pocket, within the width of the pocket. I think I felt at the time that I needed some blue. And then I found this piece, which would be ideal. I did play around with this one for a while, trying to find the right place. Decided it wasn't wide enough, so I needed to tear another one. I've also been filming a video about making masterboards, so those scraps can be used in that video. And I won't feel too guilty about it, about making scraps, that is. So happy with the placement there. I can stick everything down. And then this one kept curling up, so I didn't need to make sure that the corners were stuck. So I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Give you a little look through. So that's how it goes inside your signature. It adds something really interesting and a nice bit of layering. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next week for another tutorial. And in the meantime, happy crafting. Bye!